because I always forget. Okay. Hi guys. So tonight is going to be a little bit different. I know normally we do a training and we kind of have a topic that we're going to talk about, and we kind of just pour into one topic and like one side of the business, I guess you would say. But I feel like we've been talking about the same things for a little bit now, and I wanted to kind of see where your guys' head was at and what you needed help with, because Brittany and I, or like me, I could sit here and be like, I think people need this, and you guys could really be like, listen, Linda, we've heard that 78 times, like time to move on. So we opened it up for the Q&A on the Limitless page, and we're just kind of going to read off of those questions, and I'm going to also open the chat section of this. So if you have any questions and you didn't get to put them on the team page, ask them, right? Nothing's off limits. I really just want to gauge and see like what's needed so that way moving forward we can kind of touch on that, because we've done a lot of conversations, we've done a lot of IPAs, we've done a lot of Instagram, right? So I wanted to make sure before we just kept going on and on and on that the things you actually needed to hear you were hearing. So that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I was reading these though, and something that before I jump into the training side of it, one of the questions was based off of leadership, and I kind of want to touch on that real quick. So I'm going to read that one first because the rest of them kind of fall in line with each other. And this one kind of, when I read it, I was like, yes, because we have not talked about this yet. So what helped you become a better leader? How did you incorporate your leadership skills through customers and promoter conversations? So for me, and if you have been a part of our team for a while, or like 2 weeks at least, then you would have heard me say that I match efforts. When I say, by the way, we have Cash tonight. Is anybody surprised that my mother's dog is here? You'll hear me say I match people's efforts. I do that with my customers. I do that with my promoters. The reason why I do that is because I am if you know the color like languages, if you know what I'm talking about and you've taken your color, I am very red. So I am very like balls to the walls, like let's go 24/7. But I also know that not everybody is like that. So if I am talking to somebody who is like very blue, which is if you're not familiar with the colors, like red is very like not aggressive, but very like sure of what aggressive. That's fine. We're just going to call it what it is. I'm an aggressive person. It's fine. Like I love you all to death, but I am Cash. And blue is very like, it's the exact opposite of aggressive. So whatever that word is, like very, very wrapped around like others. And I am very like, let's get it done. Let's go. Let's do this XYZ. Like, it's okay if you're not doing it because I'm going to do it. Like, right. Like I was very bad at nursing because I could never delegate because I did everything myself. Because I was like, what if they like don't do it the right way? If you know nursing, you have to delegate. So I pull in my leadership that way. And it took a lot for me to learn that not everybody is balls to the walls like me. Not everybody is red, right? Not everybody is going to see a promotion or see a new bonus or see a weekend promo or see X, Y, and Z, right? And get as excited as I am. Some people are just going to be like, oh, that's cool. And as a leader, you have to understand that that's okay. And as a leader, you have to understand that it's not your job to tell people what to do. It's your job to show them how to do it by doing it yourself. So that's where the disconnect comes in a lot of times. And I hear a lot of people say like, my team isn't doing this, or they're not performing this way, or they're not doing this, or they're not doing enough of this, or I can't get them to talk in a chat, or nobody will get on a Zoom with me. Okay. I have said since the day I started my business, if I get on a Zoom and there's only one person there, I'm talking to one person. I don't care if we've been on Zooms where there's over 300. I did a Zoom with Maria and I didn't even look at how many there were because it made me nauseous. It was like a lot. And then I've done ones where there's like 3 people that showed up, right? I'm not talking any different on any of them. It might've taken me a little bit to get started on the one that had like a ton of them because I was like, wow. But I'm still giving the same information, right? Whether there's one person, whether there's 3,000 people, you are getting the same information from me. When you switch your leadership level like that with your customers and your promoters, and you match their efforts, if they're showing up, if your customers are asking you questions, if your customers are coming to you asking for advice, if your customers are coming to you saying, hey, like, how can I get more out of this, right? Those are the people you're going to pour into more with answering their questions. If your customers and if you're doing your DMOs, which if you are new, you don't know what that is, but part of it is reconnecting with your customers and being your own customer service. When you are connecting with your customers, your past customers, and asking them how it's going, and you get, good, it was really good, thanks, great. You don't need to go into that more and more and more and be like, oh, well, what is this? What is that? What, blah, 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 right? You just need to say, great, like, I'm here if you need me, because they will know that that line of communication is open. It's the same thing with your promoters. If you are checking in with your downline, or you're talking in your team chat and you're trying to like say, hey, like, let's ask questions for tonight's Zoom, and one person asks a question, great, I'm answering that one question and I'll go on it. You know why? Because that person really wants that help. So to me, I match efforts. If those people on my team are asking questions and they're texting me every single day, I cannot tell you how many people are like, I don't want to bother you. You're not bothering your upline. You're not bothering your leader. This is literally what we do. And I've said it like probably till I was blue in the face, that you will never bother me. You'll never bother Britt. You'll never bother Christina. You'll never bother you'll never bother Kate. You'll never bother anybody who is in this for the right reasons. It's not a bother. If I can't answer the question, I won't read it, right? If I am so busy where I cannot answer your question and give you the full time, I won't read it right away. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to respond to it, right? I will never leave you on red. I will always respond to you. And it's never a bother. But you also have to understand that nothing is life or death when it comes to this business, right? You're not going to have a question that's life or death if it doesn't get answered within 2 seconds. It's the same thing with your customers. It's the same thing with your downline. When they ask you questions or you ask them questions, allow some time to answer it. Don't think because no one is responding to you in a couple minutes that they aren't performing or they aren't doing this. Like, you aren't their manager, you aren't their boss. So when you take it and you wrap around that and you grow yourself, and if you watched, was it last week's? Maybe the week before that, I don't remember. When I talked about being your own runner, when you're your own runner, you don't have to worry about what other people are doing or aren't doing. And if you are messaging your downline like all the time, being like, what are you doing? What are your IPAs? What is this? What is that? What are you doing? How come you aren't doing this? How come you aren't here? You aren't spending enough time building your own dang business, because they know what they need to do. And if they don't, they'll ask if they want to do it. When you are running and you're working your business, your team knows that you're doing things and they'll go to you. So at the end of the day, if you find yourself in your personal downline chat, or if you find yourself talking to your customers, or you find yourself asking other people why they aren't doing something, or you have time to check in to do XYZ and to micromanage people, you aren't spending enough time growing your own business. Because I can tell you, I don't have time to micromanage anybody. If I have time to sit here and message people asking them why they aren't doing a certain IPA, that's 5 minutes that I could have spent on my own personal IPA. You aren't your own runner. You aren't your own strongest leg, or whatever you want to call it, if you have time to micromanage people. If you have time to say, hey, why aren't you performing? Hey, why aren't you doing this? Hey, why aren't you doing that? Hey, you aren't doing up to your potential. Like, that's not your job. Your job is to be here for people. So I hope that that helps in like that whole leadership aspect. Britt, did you have anything to add to that?
I think my only thing with that is something that it was really hard for me, because I have that tendency of being like in management mode, or in like, hey, let's make it happen, because I want to help you reach those goals. And that's something that I had to adjust so much. And I'm just speaking vulnerably, because as a leader, it's not easy being a leader. And so, and what I'm trying to explain is I had to fail my way forward in this specific topic. And if it wasn't for Lindsay helping me in this specific area on how to match efforts and how to really like not get in my own way by worrying about what my team's not doing and not like doing or not doing. It's not my job. Like, my inbox is open, and me being just that person that leads myself from the front. And, you know, my inbox is here if you need me. And if it's not, like, and learning that boundary for myself and my mental state as a leader, and really focusing on what you're doing, like Lynn said, it's really helped me over the last, specifically, and I'm just gonna be truthful, like the last month, like I was finally like, okay, I'm putting my head down. I'm not focusing on what everything else that I don't have control of. I'm focusing on what I have control of. And that is how I bring forth my business every single day. And since refocusing that shift in my mindset and my leadership, my business has like changed tremendously. And I'm speaking vulnerably on that area because this is something Lynn's has helped me so much in this area, because I am kind of like that red personality that's like, what's going on? What, and like, so Lynn's has helped me see the other perspective of that I know some of my girls kind of go through, because some of my girls are kind of like me and like perfectionist syndrome when we get in those moments, or, you know, overthink sometimes. And so I know I'm not the only one. And that's why I want you to say it's okay to be like that if that's how you're leading right now, but take this as a moment to say, hey, okay, maybe that's not working. Let's switch it up and match efforts and focus on what you're putting into your business. That's my tip for that.
I love that. Okay. So I think that kind of answered the leadership section of it. If you have any other questions about that, drop it in the chat. I was just making sure it wasn't a question. Y'all know me with scroll syndrome. The next thing, I just kind of looked at the thread, and a lot of it also was Instagram, which kind of surprised me because we've had a lot of training on Instagram, but I get it, because when we talked about also at the same time, I get it. Let me just rephrase that. I get it also why these were the questions for Instagram, because a lot of times when we go over things, we do it kind of fast and we don't go into as much detail. So I want to go into a little bit more detail on Instagram on these topics. It was following people, and then two others of how do I know how to unfollow people, and how do I do that, which I'll go over also. And then another one was everybody that I follow is in another form of network marketing. Is there a way to get around that? So first, let's talk about the whole network, the people being in network marketing. That isn't a bad thing. It isn't bad to network with people in other companies. If you love what you're doing and you love the company that you're with, it shouldn't matter what anybody else is in, right? Most of my following like are in network marketing. They message me all day long, and I get people from all sorts of other network marketing companies in my inbox asking me for advice. It actually builds relationships and it builds networks for, if they aren't happy, you'd be surprised how many people follow people in other people in network marketing, and they see something that you post, which is why we do opportunity stories every single day. They see something that you post and it talks about your company, like your fives for your comp plan, right? So like, no auto ship requirement is a huge one, right? No cold messaging is another one. A lot of times they message me and they're like, how? Like, what do you do? Like, I'm in this company and we have XYZ, or we have to spend XYZ, or we are told to do hundreds lists like XYZ, right? And when they see or they hear that there's a company that you can do it different, it sparks an interest. So don't automatically assume that just because somebody else is in another company that they aren't, one, interested in what you're doing, or two, it's going to build a network and a relationship that will eventually either just be a cool like networking relationship, which I really love on Instagram because it helps your algorithm. But two, that later down the road, they won't be interested in what you're doing. One of my girls, I don't know if she's on here. I think she's visiting family, so maybe not. Kaylee, I don't think she's on tonight, but she was with a different company, and for a year she followed me, and she actually told me, she was like, when I first followed you, she's a very loyal and like committed person. So she was like, when I first followed you, I had a feeling I was going to want to do what you were doing just because I was attracted to you and I liked your social media. But with her, she was like, I commit to things for a solid year, which you can respect, right? Like you can totally respect that. You commit and see if it doesn't work for you and you are struggling a year later, or you are spending more than you're making a year later, which was her scenario, that, or your team is spending more than they're making X, we've all had that if you've been in network marketing before, that she was gonna message me. Well, her year was up and it was still the same thing, and she was not liking the same thing she wasn't liking before, and she said, I'm ready. So you never know who's going to message you. Now she's a 4K leader, and she ended last month like more than halfway to 12K, right? In her third full month in the company. So when you think about it, if you automatically like block people or don't let them follow you or don't respond to them or just ignore them because they're in a different company, you could be kind of blocking something that a year from now could be a really, really good person for your business. Don't fight relationships. Kind of just see where it goes. Obviously, if they're sour, I call them sour relationships or ugly relationships. If they are just like cold messaging or trying to get you to join them, or like that's their thing, like they want you as a potential, and you have said like, no, thank you, I'm good. But if they can respect that, no, thank you, I'm good, I don't see a problem with leaving it, right? Because you never know the kind of relationships, and you can also grow and learn from each other. Like if they're doing something or they know something different to help you grow or help you do something, or like a different app, you guys can help each other. You know what I mean? Everybody can win. The next question was how to unfollow. I unfollow every Sunday, and the reason I do this is because it helps your algorithm. I thought I went over this before, but maybe not. So it helps your algorithm a lot when the people who you're following interact with you. So if you're following a bunch of people who aren't following you back, you're interacting with accounts that aren't mutually interacting. So it's basically just telling Instagram that like people aren't interested. I don't know, like the right way to say that. You know what I mean? So when you unfollow the people that aren't following you, first, I use an unfollow app. I do not unfollow with the app. Let me say that again. I do not unfollow with the app. I say that like that because you will get blocked and like terminated from Instagram or like the earth, who knows. But it's hit and miss with Instagram. So for me, I use it to pull up the people, because it'll be like, it'll show you who's following you back. It's like a green check mark, and then you have like a red exclamation point or a red check. I don't even know. It's something red. And those are the people that aren't following you back, right? So as I pull it up on my app and I see it there, and then I go manually to my Instagram and I just unfollow them on there. It's time consuming, but it really, really, really does make a difference in your business. And it really, really helps when you're doing IPAs and you're interacting with people, because you're interacting with people who actually see you and actually are like looking at your stuff, and instead of people who just don't follow you back and just kind of say like, oh cool, this girl like likes something I did, and just scrolls on by and doesn't even look at your profile. Any app will do. If you just type unfollow in the app store, they'll pull up a whole bunch of different like Instagram ones. I don't think any is better than the other, because you're not actually using it to unfollow. You're just using it to pull your list of people who aren't following you back. So I hope that answers that question. The next one was talking about who I find to follow. So I don't necessarily search, sorry, this dog is like hot box down here. I don't necessarily search hashtags all that much. I used to when I first started following people, but then I kind of like found that if I followed everybody who owned a Great Dane, my entire Instagram was full of Great Danes. So I was like, sorry, I'm still sick too. So I kind of stopped doing that as much, and I started looking at people's accounts who were non-Thrive. Let me put a big emphasis on that. If they were Thrive, I did not do this. But if they were non-Thrive, which I don't really follow a lot of Thrive people, just because when I'm doing my IPAs, it's hard to tell, like when you're doing stories and stuff, who is Thrive and who isn't. So I try to not follow people who are in Thrive. I will go to pages that I like, or pages that I like, pictures that I like, or pages that I see that have like either a high following count or a lot of likes on a picture. And I'll go to a picture that is like appealing to me. Like my colors, like for my presets, are very like clear. They're very bright. They're very like blue and like just bright, right? So other people's pictures that are like that, I'm just automatically, my eyes go to. So those are the ones I tend to go to. And if I'm following them, it's because I like their page anyways. So that's just something that's like relatable in a sense. And I will go to the people that like their one of their pictures, and I'll go down and just follow some of the people through there. It's social media. It's networking. Nobody's following followers, or I feel like I'm saying the same word over and over and I'm getting tongue tied. Nobody's people on their page are theirs. You don't own your following. You don't own the people who like your pictures. So if somebody wants to go and do that, like, there's nothing you can do about it, right? And it's network marketing. It's how you network. If somebody's going to, and people are like, do you ever get worried that someone's going to do it to you? And I'm like, let them. Like, I don't care. I don't own that. That's part of network marketing. That's a part of social media. And to me, I'm like, if they relate to somebody else, they're going to grow with that person much more than they would have with me, right? If somebody else is like their cup of tea and they are like, wow, this is my person, like, I am glad that they found them. So do not ever be afraid that somebody's going to, and I hate this word, steal your following or steal your followers. I think that's like so like petty and like high schoolish, but don't ever be afraid of that, because if they relate to you and you are their like person that they are like, wow, this is it, they're going to join you. Like that girl who's watching me for a year, Kaylee, she knows a ton of people who do Thrive. She followed a ton of people who do Thrive, but a year later, she still came back to me because she related to me. She liked me. So you should never, ever worry about somebody being like, oh, I'm doing this. Like, don't worry about, stay in your lane. Don't worry about what's going on over here. Like, stay in your lane. So, how long do you give someone before you unfollow? I unfollow every Sunday. So Monday or Tuesday, it depends how many people I followed the week. If I have like a really, like boring week, which has not been recently, I will follow obviously a lot more people. But like recently with moving and packing and being sick and a newborn, and just life, I have not had the amount of time to really follow as many people as I used to. So I can get them all the people who haven't followed me back, all unfollowed in one day. But sometimes it takes me 2 or 3 days. So I do not start following again until my followers are cleaned up, if that makes sense. And then I start again and I give it the full. So if I stopped on a Tuesday, if I started on a Tuesday, I give it until Tuesday. So that's my new day, Tuesday. I just pick up a new day to me, or I just do it whenever I have time to do it. Do you ever go to the explore page? Yeah. So I do that too. A lot of times I find accounts to follow in the explore page, like new bloggers or new, influencers, not because I want to like order what they're doing, but because I like how they post. I like their content and stuff like that. So everybody that I follow because I was attracted to their page, if that makes sense, or attracted to a picture, not because I'm like, oh, they'd be a good potential. Because just because you think somebody's a good potential, if you have nothing in common, again, I've probably said this like 17 times, but if somebody is a vegetarian and you're not, like, and all you're posting is like big ass pieces of like steak on your timeline and they're posting like salads or tofu, obviously I don't think you guys are going to be like interacting with each other's pictures, at least not very kindly. So like, make sure it's somebody that you actually would relate to. So since I've never cleaned out my Instagram, when I get that app unfollowed, do I work on unfollowing everyone that doesn't follow me back? Or do I just do a certain amount? Okay. Sorry, I got out of breath on that one. So with this, you also want to be careful because you do not want to mass unfollow because you will get blocked on Instagram. So just do it like a couple every so hours, like 25 an hour, something simple like that. You know what I mean? But I would, Jessica, to answer your question, I would wait to start following again until you clean that up, because you won't know. Like if you start following people today and you start unfollowing people today, you won't know the people that you followed today versus the people you followed a year ago. This also really, really, really allows you time to build your interactions and going through. And if you guys watched one of my IPA chats that I did, when you go to your Instagram and you go to your profile and you hit following, if you go to the arrow underneath the search on the right-hand side, it's like an up arrow and a down arrow. You can do latest and earliest. Latest are the people that you just now followed. If you look at Britt's little square she just showed you, Brittany's showing you in that corner. Latest are the people that you just now followed. So like if I followed someone 5 minutes ago, that was who it was, who's going to pop up there. So I hit earliest because those are like the people you've been following since like middle school. Like the first people. Mine is my cousin that we made Instagram together when we were like 11. So I go through that and I start interacting with those people. Obviously not my cousin because like she stuck with me, but I go through there and I interact with people from there, starting from that, because those are the people that I've been following the longest. And it allows you to just kind of keep those relationships, keep those connections, keep your algorithm going. So as you are unfollowing, you're still able to, instead of following people, up your interactions and go into there and start interacting through that. Interactions do not have to be hard, like at all. You can go in and just be you. Like if there's not something on there or on their story, like start with their story. That's the easiest thing to interact with because it's life and it's day-to-day stuff. And if there's nothing on there, then don't force it. That's the one thing. So I hope that answered that question. Do you have anything to add on that, Britt?
No, not on that specifically, because you went over pretty much like all the good nuggets on that part. Like you did amazing there. One thing though I do want to talk about really fast, just because it was like a question on I'm getting it pulled up. When it comes to like the networking part, like how you were talking about that. You guys, I want to speak on this one little tidbit. How Linz was talking about, like specifically with your fives list as well, following like your avatar and making sure that like the people that you are interacting with are the type of people that you would want on your tribe. Like 5 year, your 200, like imagine your 200K tribe. How would those people look like to you? How would they show up? Like look at their social medias. And I know not like judge a book by its cover or anything like that, but like look at kind of how they interact on their own social media already too, is another good tidbit that I've been really like focusing on, and it's been really attracting really good quality to, and people like just with engagement. I'm not talking about like in my inbox messaging me and stuff, but like building those relationships, because by me building those relationships with those people, let's say they shout me out on their page because they listened to something or that I had spoke about or whatever, and because they shout me out on their page, it causes more people to come back to my profile and follow me. So it's about that building relationship piece there. So that's it, and I'm done.
And done. Okay, so the next question, which this one is you're gonna get a little bit of tough love Linz with it. That's what we're gonna call it right now. When you feel like you've tried all that you can and no one has really been interested, do you believe everyone has a time/period like that? And is that when you should just keep pushing through? So you're gonna get a little bit of tough love here as a tribe, because to me, that screams that you haven't grown your network. And to me, that screams that instead of doing one more of your IPAs or doing your IPAs religiously, and if you look at your page, like you're like, damn, I would join myself. It's you're sitting back and you kind of are not playing it safe, but you're telling yourself that you did do that, if that makes sense. You know how we talk about a lot, we say like the number one, you might not be a liar, but the only person you'll ever lie to is yourself, because we always will be like, I'm fine, or I'm good, or I did this, or I did that, when really, oh, what just happened? Why? Hold on. I don't know why it did that. This will stop. Okay, yeah, stop. No. Wait. How do I fix this, Britt?
I'm trying to figure that out right now too, actually.
Options.
Fit to window.
Sorry, y'all. I'm not a techweenie and I've never had this happen before.
Linz, I think someone's sharing, like she's sharing her screen. but I don't know how to turn it off.
Yeah. Messages.
Kathy, can you?
Oh, I think it fixed itself. Oh,
And
okay.
new things, all the things.
All right, listen, it fixed itself. We're good. Okay, going on. What was I saying? Okay, so you might not be a liar at all. But you might tell yourself like, hey, I did all my IPAs today, or hey, I've like really, really been trying very hard, but it's been like a day and a half, right? Of like you actually trying very hard. That to me is the biggest thing. So when people ask me that, the first thing I ask them, so I'm going to ask you, is what are your IPAs? How many are you doing? What exactly do they look like though? And I'm not micromanaging you and I just genuinely want to know if you're going to tell me that you've tried everything, what is everything? Does that make sense? Like in your head, because I asked somebody this the other day and we had like a kind of a breakthrough because her everything was doing like 3 IPAs. And then that was it, right? And I'm like, okay, but what happens if you added this in there? Or what happens if you did the full list that I give every single morning? And what happens if you do that full list for a month straight, right? But more than that, what happens when you get vulnerable with yourself and you share it on there with your fives? A lot of times, and I swear, like I say the fives list maybe 37 times a day, like on a slow day. But I swear I say that every day because when people ask me how 2 years later I'm able to do this, it's because I shared my fives. And when people ask me, they're like, how are you able to do this, this, and this, right? Well, 2 years ago, when I started this, I was very bold in my posts. When you looked at my page, you knew exactly what the heck I was doing. Now I'm a little bit less bold, not because I don't want to be, but because my business has built momentum and I've never let off the gas. That momentum carries me through to a day. If I just want to post about my son, I can, and I will still get messages in my inbox because literally I can be like, talk about being a stay-at-home mom and how days like Monday would normally knock me on my butt if I was working a 14-hour shift, not mention my business at all, except for the fact that I love that I get to be a stay-at-home mom. And I'm going to have somebody in my inbox. Why? Because I've built that up. They know what I'm doing. It's not like one day I just started doing network marketing and I just expected everybody to know what I was doing. You can't expect somebody to know what you're doing if you haven't built it up. So my thing with this that I want everybody to do, if you feel this way, now are there seasons where I go and I don't enroll people every single day? A freaking course. Like, yes, of course. Like, don't knock yourself and like be like, wow, I haven't enrolled somebody or this, that, or the other. Yes, of course. But there's always something, like even with myself, there's always something that can change. There's always something that you can do. You have to be a sponge and you have to continue to learn. But you, more than that, you have to be willing to do the research yourself too. You can't just think getting on a Zoom on Mondays and Wednesdays and doing IPAs in the morning that somebody gives you is all that you need to do for your business. You need to be pouring into yourself. You need to be doing the research yourself. So when you look at your page, would you join you? I know I did a social media makeover. I think that was last week. All of my days are kind of blending together at the moment, but I think it was last week. And I talked about when you look on your social media, would you know what the heck you're doing? If you didn't know that you do Thrive, so take that out of the equation and you just looked at your social media, would you know that you are a part of a company? Would you know what the company offers from your comp plan fives list? Would you know what the products feel like do for you from your fives list on your page? Would you have any clue? If you can't genuinely and like truthfully be like, yeah, like I got this in the bag. My page is my storefront. And if that's the case and your page is your storefront 100%, it's just adding those eyes and growing your network. So spend more time growing your network, spend more time growing those interactions. If you cannot look at your page and be like, wow, like, yeah, if I had no idea, I would join this girl, like I would join me. then we need to fix that, right? We got to get you going to where but that comes with you learning how to be comfortable with it. Cause a lot of times people, when they go to post, you overthink it, right? Christina Tammy, I don't know if she's on tonight. Everybody that I'm talking about isn't on tonight. How awkward. I swear they're real people. But Christina Tammy messaged me today a bomb caption. Like, if you're in my downline, you know, like you can message me captions and I'll help you edit, I'll help you add in things, but like I won't start it for you, but I'll help you like kind of mold it and make sure your fives are in there until you get the hang of it. Well, Christina Tammy sent me a caption today and I was like, wow, like I would join you, like, wow. And she was like, really, I think I need to not post it. I don't think it's good enough. And I was like, I would join you like off of this. Like, this is something I would join. Like, this is bomb. But because you sit there and you stare at it too often, you nitpick like the word you're like, that shouldn't be there. And you're like, it's the word like, it's okay, right? I do it too. When you look at something over and over and over again, you get nervous and you don't post it. And then that confidence level drops because you're like, I don't think this is good enough. Those are the ones that you need to just post. Just hit post. It's a single post on social media. I can guarantee you that not a single person, and if somebody messages you and says like, what is this? Like, why are you doing that? Like making fun of you? Like, okay, cool. I think like the number one person that I loved when they said this was Taylor. And she's on here, so she's real. Taylor, she hit her VIP, and then we were working towards 4K. And she was like, what do I need to do? And I was like, well, you got to start. And she was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, your last post on your page was like 7 days ago. And she was like, yeah, but I'm using my stories. And I'm like, that is great. And I am so proud of you for using your stories, but like, you got to post. And since that day, she has not gone a single day without posting. And since her second month on our team, she has been in my top 10 for PPAs every single 30 days, like every single month. So when you stop caring what other people think, and she had her boyfriend's sister message her and be like, I'm going to block you. This is so annoying. And she was like, Linz, I'm going to cry. And I was like, girlfriend, like, let her block you. Like, she's your friend in real life. What's it matter? You know what I mean? It's okay that people get annoyed if they don't understand it. If you're being spammy, I can understand if they're like, yo, like tone it down. But if you are just sharing something once a day, not a single person is going to get genuinely annoyed at that. Like, you're sharing your life. No one's going to get annoyed at that. If they do, then they shouldn't be following you in the first place. Like, I don't know what to say. But yeah, and now she wants to join too. So like that's another thing. But that's what work on posting actual posts, just been doing stories. Yeah. So that's your biggest thing, is if you are just doing one thing, you cannot say you're doing everything. You got to start. And that's like my biggest thing with people is when they say, I know I'm doing something slow or I'm starting slow. And I'm like, there's no such thing as starting slow. You haven't started. You're doing baby steps, right? You have not started, because there is no such thing as, hey, I'm going to start slow and just kind of work my way into this. Either you start or you just kind of do it, right? They're two different like momentums, and that's fine if you just kind of want to like kind of do it. But if you come to me and you say, hey, like this isn't working, I'm going to tell you it's because you haven't started. You just got to post. Like, you just have to do this. You have to do that. Like, I give IPAs every single morning, not because I just like to type my little thumbs away, right? Like, not because I have the time with like Rylan to just sit there and like type away, because I swear every time that boy sees my phone, it's like he needs me, or like it's feeding time again, something. They swear they love phones. When they see it, it's like they need you. So when we share those with you guys and we say like, hey, like do this, it's because we mean it. Like, that's literally what I do in my day. It's not just something that I'm sharing with you guys and being like, okay, haha, bye. Like, no, I would never, ever post something or suggest something unless I was willing to do it myself. So the number one thing with that entire question is, have you started? And then did you start and did you stop, or did you keep going? I did a consistency training in the hustling page. And if this is something like this topic is something that is like, you're like, yes, like this is me, or this is something I need to work on, I highly suggest watching that in the Hustling page. It's on consistency, and it talks about the popcorn effect of you putting a bag of popcorn, which is your business, into the microwave. You hit the popcorn button, and then and that's your business, and the heat is the consistency, and then you hear your first no, so you freak out and you stop the timer on the microwave, right? Are you gonna have popcorn within that 30 seconds? No. And then you get excited again because somebody's like, the company launched a bonus or a weekend promo, and you're all excited again, like a month later, and you re-hit the popcorn button, and you're going and you hear a little pop, and you get so excited, and then you hear another no, and then you're like, oh, I can't do this. That momentum has no time to build up because you're starting and you're stopping, and then people don't trust you. The biggest thing with social media and what we do is that trust factor. And the reason why people message me and they have joined me is because, if they don't know me, is because for 2 years I've been nothing but consistent. I've never stopped. My popcorn's probably so burnt with how much like it's been in that microwave. Like, I have never stopped. So that is my number one thing, is to look at your business. Would you join you? Are you doing truly everything, or are you just doing what you think is enough? Have you truly started? And where's your momentum at? Like, where's your popcorn bag at? Where's your heat and your consistency at? Something Lynn said to me that helped was, some people only see your stories and some people only see your feed. Share your five list on both, which is very true. Some people will only, the algorithm makes it so like they'll only see your stories and not your posts, and like the other way around. Britt, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, there is two things I want to talk on that, piggybacking off of it, because stories and posts obviously are going to be your front view of your business, your open sign for your business, but also within your stories, the energy that you bring in your stories is so, so huge. Like if you're in your stories and your face is in your stories and you're talking in your stories, I am telling you, if I hear people complain or talking about all the things that are going, like just like the negative energy of things, or the bad vibes of things, or the woe is me, life is happening me of things, I don't watch those, and I know that your audience doesn't either. And the thing is, you guys, if you have things going on, use it as a way to bring value. Turn it into, instead of woe is me, turn it into an opportunity of bringing a good energy and a good mindset that shows your strength and your endurance, that shows your passion and your confidence, because life is always going to throw things at you. So it's how that energy that you bring to your stories, you guys, and the energy you bring to your posts is so key. If I hear people, and I'm not saying just like in business, I'm saying in any stories I hear, and they're like, well, I'm having a good day, and this is just the best day ever, and I'm tired, like, but I'm feeling so good now, and just like low vibe like that, you guys know, you gotta get excited. You gotta put some pep in your step. You gotta learn that even if you are feeling like lower vibe energy, getting in creativity, getting into production mode is what brings a confidence about you. So the second thing I want to touch on, besides your energy, getting in creativity, you guys, and I found myself getting in the lack of creativity. And when I was in lack of creativity, it caused me to get in comparison mode, or get into nitpicking myself mode, or to get into overthinking mode, or what I'm not doing enough mode, whatever that may be. So when you feel yourself in those modes, because it's going to happen, how you pick yourself up is by getting into creativity, which is through either getting into self-development, hip hopping on, like learning about what you're doing, like learning about your craft. What I mean learning, like learning about your trainings, or maybe there's a topic about that, like social media growing, or having a attractive profile that you're wanting to learn about. Pinterest, there's so many ways of like learning and growing and getting knowledge and getting creative and finding new ways to layer your brand. There's so many things that you can do to layer your brand that is switched up from your normal every single day routine. Like even with me, I want to always show my 3 steps in my page every single day. I will always show my 3 steps. You will never see me not show my 3 steps in my page, but I do it differently every single day. Because then if I'm doing the same thing over and over and over and it's not giving me results, then it's time to switch it up. And that's creativity mode. So energy and getting creative are the last things I wanted to talk, and then I'm done. But no, I'm good. I don't know if we had any other questions. I don't think we did. I think we're good.
No, I think that was it. The only other one that we had was on presets. You can find them anywhere, like where to find them. You can find them Etsy. You can find them, honestly, if you follow bloggers on Instagram, they normally sell them. M has some really good ones. I think hers are on sale for like $12 right now. She has one very similar to one that I use, like the white clear one. And then she has a couple other ones up there too. So if you're looking for presets, that was a question of where you find them. All over the place. Etsy has them for like 99 cents. You can buy bundles of them, bloggers and stuff like that. So I hope that helps. And if you have any other questions, as always, our inboxes are open for if you need us. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. It's the first week of February. I have to think of where we're at. It's the first week of February. Monday are always, and I said it in my team chat this morning, Mondays are always my kind of like my favorite days because, and not only that, like the first week of the month, because everybody starts at 0. Everyone starts at a clean slate. Every single person right here, right now has the same exact tools as each other's, the same exact resources. Not a single person has something that somebody else doesn't. It's just how you use them. It's just how you apply them. So remember that, like, and don't think that because if you don't start the month strong, that you can't end it strong, right? It's your momentum. So start running now, and then don't give up on the 15th. Don't give up on the 20th. And then it'll be the 28th, and you won't be like, shoot, tomorrow's the last day of the month, because it's a leap year. Tomorrow's the last day of the month. I know I didn't understand that either when Rob kept saying there's 366 days. And I was like, you graduated college. Like, don't you know this? And then I'm like, oh, wow, that's awkward. Yeah, so did I. But that way you aren't like, it's the last day of the month and wow, like now I want to work my business for the month. Like start it today. Start it now. And you can seriously, like you can blow it. Like every single person could do amazing things with this month as long as you apply what you are learning and what you have there. And if you need help finding things, like ask. We have so many resources and so many tools that if you need help on a certain subject, just ask, because every single person on here right now, like you are here on a Monday night for an hour pouring into yourself, listening to my voice, which Lord help all of you because I can't even listen to my own voice. So think about it. You are pouring into yourself and you're learning. Don't just sit here for an hour just to hear me talk. Use it. Don't just sit here for an hour just to hear Britt talk. Use it. We're here to help you. And if you need help with a certain thing that we talked about, or we didn't touch on it tonight, like we're here for you. All of our trainings are on my YouTube, every single one of them. So if you are new and you missed any, or if you would like to hear any again, they're all on my YouTube. So that's fine. And yeah, Brittany's wedding is in 37 days, just so everybody knows. So if she can still do that stress and work, we all don't have an excuse. That's like why I'm like, if I can move and I can build and I can plan a wedding, like y'all, we can get through almost anything. We got this. So I hope you guys have a great night and a great week, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.